Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. I think I'm live. I am live. Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Well, I wanted to go live at 5, but I had a bit of a technological problem. So today we are going to be looking at Venus and Jupiter conjunction happening on 9th of June, and this is a beautiful conjunction. We can make a lot out of it. So I wanted to make sure that you guys are using the Jupiter and Venus conjunction in the bestest possible way. So this is going to be a very practical class. I'm going to tell you what to do according to your rising sign. But at first, I would like to give you a bit of a description how the Jupiter and Venus conjunction work. I mean, do let me know if you have got any questions at all. So just drop it into the chat box. And then I'm going to try to reply as many questions as possible. So the conjunction takes place on 9th of June 2026. The conjunction degree is 25 degree of Cancer. So if you have any planets on 25 degree of the water signs, or even the cardinal signs, then this video is surely for you. Why it's so special is because it brings together the two benefic planets. So the planets traditionally associated with growth, harmony, and support. The other reason why it's super special is because Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. Exaltation simply means that Jupiter can extend its benefic power in the sign of Cancer in the bestest possible way. So let's call this one as the most naturally supportive, emotionally rich alignment possible. Now, Cancer is a water sign, very focused on security, emotional foundation, belongings. So this conjunction manifests beautifully through a sense of expanded emotional safety, nurturing. Jupiter, Venus both represent abundance, but often when we hear the word abundance, we might think that this is going to be about money. And it's not only about money. It is also about emotional abundance and inner peace as well. Jupiter, whatever it touches, it expands. And Venus seeks harmony. So in the sign of Cancer, this translates to a massive upgrade in emotional resilience and well-being. This is a feeling of being at home within yourself. It brings a wave of optimism that isn't so flashy as we would expect it. It's rather quiet, comforting reassurance that you are safe and supported. This is super good for healing family narratives or past emotional wounds. Uh, these wounds are easier to carry. Now, like I said, this conjunction takes place on 25 degree of Cancer, and one of the closest aspects Jupiter and Venus are making right now is a square to Chiron on 29 degree of Aries. So this is one of the reasons why this is trying to help us with those Aries wounds, which is about the right to exist, which is about I cannot be brave, I cannot be number one, and so forth. So it helps you to carry those weights. It helps you actually to put them down. Maybe instead of feeling restricted by old memories, there is this sudden kind of like generous capacity to forgive, to let go, and kind of like creating that warm inner sanctuary. Also, Venus represents relationships as well, and Cancer is your chosen family. So, with Venus ruling connections and romance, while Jupiter brings luck and higher understanding, so in the sign of Cancer, the focus shifts away from superficial dating or networking and moves directly towards that deep, kind of like soul level bonding. So if you have got, for example, a Capricorn rising sign or a Pisces rising sign, and like I said, I'm going to be breaking this down for all 12 signs, very practical ways, but that would talk to you about being able to reconnect with someone on an emotional level. Maybe it's about shifting your partnership from just living together to kind of actively building a home, a family together. So let's say if you've got a Pisces rising sign, this is kind of like a divine blessing for you to get pregnant. If you've got an Aquarius rising sign, an Aries rising sign, this would be a divine moment also for you to get pregnant, to buy a home, to sell a home, and so forth, or to simply move together with someone. This is a kind of combination where you and your loved ones find immense joy in cooking together, feathering their nest, hosting intimate dinners for close friends, a bit of a game night as well. And then I start feeling deeply looked after. Now, both Jupiter and Venus are financial planets as well. While Cancer is deeply emotional, it is also a cardinal sign. So, a cardinal sign, such Cancer, focuses on security, which of course extends to material comfort and the home as well. So, Venus rules money and Jupiter rules wealth and expansion. So, financial choices are kind of like guided often by a desire for long term safety rather than risky speculations. It actually favors investments that protect the future or enhance the immediate living space. This is highly favorable for someone who wants to invest into properties, buying a property, selling a property, and so forth, or simply finding the perfect home, finding the perfect rent, and signing a rental agreement as well. Or imagine that it happens in your eighth house. This is about securing a mortgage, for example, or seeking a significant return on a property investment also. Um, or I would also say that because Cancer is the opposite sign to Capricorn, so Cancer has got a lot to do with career as well, but Cancer is highly intuitive and imaginative. So with Venus providing artistic grace and Jupiter offering a vision, creative projects can take on that very soulful kind of like resonant quality to it. So it's actually time to give birth to your creative projects. And this is something that we are passionate about. We find it comforting. It's also very good to make a video, for example, because people might find you relatable, emotionally intelligent. But on top of that, this could also be about the desire to feed, to teach, nurture others through what you have created. When I talk about feeding, it might be a mental feeding. So if you're an author, a teacher, or a content creator, this could be about potentially launching a successful project that feels kind of like a warm hug to your audience. They would receive it really well. You can really create educational spaces or writing memoirs or designing anything that makes people feel emotionally fed and understood as well. So, if I had to kind of like give a slogan to this combination, my slogan would be that abundance begins at home. It's the joy of that full pantry, a safe house, deep emotional bonds, that quiet confidence that you have exactly what you need to protect and to nurture your loved ones. Many of us should be spending a lot of time together with their partners and with their family members, and then kind of like creating those great memories. Now, this conjunction, like I said at the beginning, it takes place on 25 degree of Cancer. So what's special about it is that it's falling onto Taurus dwat. So a dwad is kind of like a 12 little segment of a sign, and it covers approximately about 2.5 degrees altogether. And the reason why it's so special is because Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer, and Venus would rule the Taurus Lilus 2.5 degree segment. So imagine this conjunction as so powerful that every single planet is kind of like of participating, sitting on a throne here. So Taurus is about materializing something. So while Cancer wants emotional security in the home, that 25 degree, which is a Taurus kind of territory, it provides the physical comfort, it gives the quality, it gives the sensory pleasure as well. So this isn't just about feeling safe at home. It's about physically upgrading your environment into a luxurious kind of like sanctuary. It blends that emotional warmth of Cancer with the excellence and the material stability of Taurus. Taurus is kind of like aesthetic excellence. So it's getting tied together with that Cancerian emotional safety. So maybe you are finding a home, and a home that needs to be renovated, and maybe we find an interior designer with that as well. Or we are going to be upgrading something in our home environment using top tier, kind of like sustainable materials. Think buying that incredibly comfortable, kind of like high end sofa, and then, I don't know, creating an organic garden, or turning a spare room into a beautiful, fully equipped studio. And then it kind of smells like high quality essential oil. That's the type of sensory type of things that you potentially experience with the Jupiter and Venus conjunction. Both Cancer and Taurus are heavily interested in security, but Taurus brings a sharp eye for tangible assets, resource management, and long-term value. So this is a power. Taurus departments are always focusing on worth. But also important to remember that we are not going to undervalue our work. Instead, we trying to attract, let's say, the right clients who are eager to pay, for example, for high quality type of content as well. Venus thriving in a Taurus dwat. So it represents some type of massive appreciation for often the finer and the lower things in life. Um, Also, this is about loyalty as well. If you think of Cancer as the representation of family, and then Taurus is about loyalty. So you are not just creating something for a day or two, but those people should stick around. So I really love this conjunction. Now, like I said, it has got a square to Chiron. And Chiron in the sign of Aries is like a lone warrior who has got a defense mechanism, who is always on alert, because of course someone can attack me. Chiron in Aries creates a wound where we might feel like that we must do in everything entirely alone. And asking for a support kind of like makes us feel vulnerable. So therefore, this might be talking to us about having to say that I need help. That Venus Jupiter emotional abundance and that Taurian what stability somehow forces a breakthrough. It's like we have to realize that staying in a survivor mode or playing the hyper independent kind of lone wolf actually gets in the way of the empire you are able to build with this conjunction. Um, the square creates a bridge between your deepest personal battle, which is Chiron in Aries, and your capacity to nurture and build value. And that's the Jupiter-Venus conjunction in Cancer on the Taurus dot. So it's about transforming a past vulnerability or an area of deep struggle into a piece of work. It's like, for example, imagine that you have had a physical you had a physical abuse at one point in your life, and then you have been struggling with that. How can I turn that into a strength? Because let's say by working with this energy, I'm going to be able to help others, but I'm going to go through a healing process myself as well. And Cancer is about healing. Cancer is ruled by the moon. And what's also super special about this conjunction is that when Jupiter and Venus are meeting up on the 9th of June in the sign of Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is in the sign of Aries, making a very tight conjunction to Saturn, which is really talking to us about that if we work extremely hard on who we are, then the world is going to be able to see it and we are going to get accepted. Chiron in Aries can manifest as a tendency to push the physical and the emotional body past its limits to prove a point. But that square from Cancer is, imagine that as a compassionate intervention. So it's about telling you that what's the point in being on a defense mode all the time? What's the point of trying to protect ourselves all the time when actually there is so much love out there, and then we can find love. And what I mean by love is not necessarily just a partnership love. It definitely indicates a definite boundary regarding your time, energy, and physical peace. And it's potentially about using your resources to actively protect your well-being, treating self-care not as a luxury, but as a non-negotiable business, because I have the right to take care of myself. So this constellation for me is a little bit about having to be egotistical. It's about investing into your physical vitality. Maybe you want to go for some advanced body therapies, or you want to do some wellness routines, or simply blocking out weeks in your schedule where you are completely unreachable. It's about learning to say no as well. Learning to say no to opportunities or people that potentially compromise your inner peace. Realizing that a rested, kind of like secure version of yourself is far more potent than kind of like the burnt out warrior. I think Chiron being on 29 degree of Aries is like a little bit of a pressure cooker, or wanting to be seen and understood for who we truly are. So the square from Jupiter Venus provides that emotional validation. So you stop waiting for outside permission to take up space. You don't apologize for who you are anymore. And then that Venus and the wisdom of Jupiter give you the grace to look at the old wound of rejection or identity conflict and say, that pain made me entirely unique and who I am and stronger than I've ever been. And I'm going to now build something beautiful with it. This should be somehow a moment when the warrior realizes that they no longer need to kind of sleep on the hard ground to prove that they are tough. The Chiron wound is healed precisely by allowing yourself to accept that I am entitled for luxury, comfort, love, deep emotional security. And if you are able to do that, then this should be playing out brilliantly. There is also an asteroid involved here. On the very same day when the conjunction happens, it's a triple conjunction actually. It's a triple conjunction with Sappho. Now, Sappho's astrological number is 80 if you would like to look it up where it is. Sappho is named after the ancient Greek poet of Lesbos. Sappho in astrology represents art, deep romantic sensitivity, is the appreciation of beauty, the ability to articulate feelings. So we are talking about a poet here. It's Sappho is like the bridge between emotions and that exquisite kind of structured art. So entertainers and artistic people are going to be resonating or artistic people are going to be benefiting from this conjunction the most. It's like when you're able to find the exact words, because we're talking about a poet, you are finding the exact metaphors or the visual design, to convey deep, soulful concepts. If it happens in your 11th house, maybe you're able to find that the luck in it is that you are able to find that thumbnail, for example, for your YouTube video, that allows you to go viral. And then this is how you would be able to get, for example, abundance eventually. Or if it happens in your 3rd house or the 7th house, and so forth. So, but also Sappho talks about aesthetics as well. So maybe if you are a beautician or a therapist, beauty therapist of some sort, because Sappho has got aesthetic eye to the beautiful things. So you might want to post, I don't know, your latest hair design and so forth. It's about you finding prosperity by leaning fully into beauty and emotional intelligence and refinement as well. I would call this as the healing of the vulnerability hangover. You know, the reason why is because you shouldn't forget that we've got a square to Chiron on 29 degree of Aries, which is the fear of being seen, the fear of being attacked, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being misunderstood for standing in that raw truth of yours. And Sappho comes into the picture, and then Sappho wants to clear this hurdle by using the best words ever. And then it can sound a bit attacking, but at the same time, it's just kind of like settle an argument here. So Sappho teaches that raw vulnerability becomes untouchable when it's transformed into art of some sort. And Chiron in Aries is our personal battles, but also the hard-won wisdom as well. So what if I make a picture of it, So it's so important that we all tap into our pain and then we turn that into a strength. Another interesting thing that we might want to mention, and let's get a bit slightly tactical, because Venus and Jupiter conjunction do not happen every day, okay? So typically it's a once a year type of conjunction. Sometimes it happens once in a sign, sometimes it doesn't happen at all. So last year we had a Jupiter and Venus conjunction in the sign of Cancer, August 11th on top of my head. It happened on 13th degree of Cancer. So imagine that as planting the seeds type of thing. So what I would like you to do is, I would like you to think back what went down in 2025 August, because that was the seeding moment. And now this is going to be the manifestation, the harvest period of time. So that was like an opening chapter of this story. Remember, Jupiter spends approximately about 1 year in a sign. So that August 2025 conjunction was a seeding point of this entire Cancer cycle. And we are not going to be having a conjunction between Jupiter and Venus in the sign of Leo. So the very next conjunction is going to take place 2027 August, but it's going to happen in the sign of Virgo. So therefore, the predictions that we are going to be making here is not for a day or a 2 or 1 week. We are talking about a 2-year cycle. To be precise, it's a 26-month cycle. So you can be expecting Jupiter and Venus impact to be fully kind of like as a guardian angel surrounding you for the next 2 years, especially if you have got any planets on those degrees that I have given you. Previous time when we had a Jupiter and Venus conjunction in the sign of Cancer was 2001 and 2002. So it happened exactly the same way. We had two conjunctions in the sign of Cancer, so they skipped Leo. So if you are old enough, you might want to go back to the 2001 and 2002 window, and then you would be able to see, or you would be able to see what good things happened to you. Just remember, Cancer is highly fertile sign, so giving birth something in the next 1 month, and then you might be able to see the good results in a couple of years' time. So yes, so it's going to be about Venus and Jupiter conjunction not meeting up in the sign of Leo. They are going to be occupying the sign together, but they are not going to be forming a conjunction. Also, we have got a fixed star involved as well. And the name of the fixed star is Procyon, if I pronounce it well. It's the minor dog, it's the lesser dog, really. Procyon is a first magnitude white star, and some says it has got the Mars and Mercury kind of like nature. But Procyon is it's a star that just rises before Sirius, the dog star. And actually, Procyon means before the dog. So it does give a very specific energetic blueprint to Procyon. It represents rapid success, sharp wit, and the ability to seize the moment. So it does come with a warning sign, like every single fixed stars, and that could be haste or overextension of the self before the foundation is ready. So because this Jupiter-Venus conjunction happens right on Procyon, so it actually supercharges the manifestation of the potentials. You know, usually Cancer is soft and sleepy and a little bit overly private, but Procyon injects it with kind of like that engine of momentum. So it's kind of like being at the right place at the right time. Or you can even think of it as a first mover advantage. Because Procyon represents the energy that arrives just before the main event. So showing up early gives you the chance to kind of win something. So maybe you are going to be the first to act on a creative idea or to launch a masterclass or a business pivot. Basically, it says that it's perfectly timed. And you have got the ability right now to spot a trend, to speak the truth, or to launch a product right before the market gets flooded with it. So don't wait 2 years. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I said, Procyon is about rapid success. So this could indicate rapid rise to prosperity, especially because of the Taurus dwat. So what I'm really thinking is that it's high time right now to invest into something. I cannot give you ideas on what. Is it going to be a cryptocurrency or stuff like that? Obviously, it should be something Cancerian related, which is really much land and properties, or food and cooking and stuff like that. But really be on the lookout for certain type of investments. Someone says that this is happening right on their Sun and Vesta conjunction. So that's actually brilliant. Do let us know in the next 1 month at least how that made you kind of like lucky. But the manifestation of this, like I said, it's going to last for about 2 years. So now, no more about the general stuff. So I think we should get into giving some advice to each rising sign what to do. And I'm just going to give you 7, 8 things of what to do. Okay. So Aries rising sign, if it happens, if you're an Aries rising sign, but you can also watch this video for your sun and moon sign as well, depending on your age and what stage you are in your life. But Aries, it happens in your 4th house. So you can really host kind of like a dinner. Invite 3, 4 of your favorite people over for a home cooked meal. Now, it might sound like, Victor, how is they going to make me abandoned? They might give you an idea there and then, which actually become very lucrative. But also, you might want to be upgrading your sleep setup. So you might want to buy the highest quality bed sheets or pillows you can find, because you want to be anchoring the Taurus part of your Cancer department. You can film a behind the scene video. So you can record something from your living room or your home office to show your audience your real, kind of like unfiltered space. But also, what if you forgive a family narrative? Maybe you want to write a letter releasing an old childhood grievance, and then you burn it. Maybe you want to be decluttering your sanctuary a little bit. Clear out one room completely to allow fresh, wealthy energy to flow in. Why is that important? Because once you get rid of old memories, and that's Cancer, memories, the past, then what you really do is that you make space for something new to come around. You can invest into property as well. You can invest into a beautiful piece of art also. And maybe that is going to go up in prices so much in the next couple of years, or it's going to become a well thought, like, well sought, like item. And then you can, I don't know, put on eBay and then they pay a lot of money for it. Or make your home feel more luxurious. Or have a deep heart to heart conversation. Sit down on the couch with a partner or a close friend or a family member and share with them the way you were hurt. Because, of course, we have to honor Chiron in the sign of Aries as well. So do let me know in the chat box below what type of advice you would give to Aries rising sign. I just picked a few of them, but by sharing your own thoughts or sharing the stage you are at in your life might help others who read the comment section. And I always read them anyway. Taurus rising sign. So this is happening in your third house. Maybe you can write a beautiful newsletter. You can really use that Sappho poetic energy to write kind of like a deeply resonant, kind of vulnerable email, let's say to your audience, especially if you are a blogger or someone like that. But maybe you can take this scenery, kind of local drive, go on a short road trip to a nearby town that feels comforting and visually inspiring. Why? Because maybe you are going to be meeting someone. Jupiter represents the benefactors in our life. So this could indicate bumping into someone on the road who is going to become the love of your life, who is going to offer you a job, and so forth. Or record a podcast or a voice note. But it should be, again, speaking from the heart instead of using kind of like a rigid script. Let your voice soothe the listener. And then if you, I don't know, maybe, Cancer loves crying from time to time. So if you want to shed some tears on the camera, why not? This could also indicate that you want to buy a high-end journal and starting to write your ideas down. But then it should be a beautifully bound book. It's not just a piece of paper. Because again, when you are doing something aesthetically pleasing, you are actually inviting the universe to grant those wishes for you. Maybe you want to be rebranding your daily message. Maybe you want to be upgrading the tagline on your social media, or you want to be changing a photo on your website, or just to look warmer or more nurturing, and so on. Maybe you want to take a very specialized workshop. You can enroll in a mini course or something highly creative, because that might be something that becomes lucrative for you in the next 26 months. Or you might want to reconnect with your sibling or a neighbor. Maybe you just want to reach out for a casual, kind of warm coffee date to strengthen the local ties, but you never know what's going to come out of it. Gemini rising sign, this is happening in your second house. So you might want to raise your prices. Remember it's a second house, which represents money. It's on Taurus toward as well, which represents money. So it's about charging what your high quality work is actually worth. Maybe you want to introduce a top tier kind of like level of service to kind of like the niche clients. You can launch a premium product, put out that luxury top tier digital offer, something that provides that lasting value to it. But also you can audit your accounts over a nice meal as well. You are reviewing your finances while sitting in a beautiful cafe, just to remove kind of like the stress of money. Or you might want to buy a luxury sensory item. So you can invest into a premium perfume, a high-end skincare, or clothing that feels amazing on your skin. And it might sound a really, easy kind of like remedy, right? But wearing that beautiful piece of clothing makes you glow like a diamond. So again, you can meet someone coming out from the Gucci shop or wherever you do your shopping, right? Or it could indicate that you can create a physical portfolio for yourself. You can print out your best work or testimonials into kind of like this stunning physical kind of lookbook, and then you can share it on your website. You might be attracting other clients. Or maybe you want to be setting up kind of like a nest egg account, and maybe something that automatically pulls a percentage of your income into that. Maybe it's 5%, 10%, and that's it. Or maybe you want to be treating yourself to a body treatment. You might want to book a deep massage, like a deep tissue massage or a luxury facial to kind of ground your energy. And again, I know many of you is going to say that I don't have money for luxury items, and I do get it. We are not living in that particular time. But then again, because the second house is self-worth. And if you do a bit of a facial treatment, again, you're just going to feel better. And then maybe you go for a job interview and then you are going to get automatically hired. It's not because you pretty much did an expensive skincare routine, just because the aftermath of that, the way you feel about yourself is just going to be amazing. Cancer rising sign. So surely you are one of the lucky ones because it happens in your first house. The other lucky ones is going to be Sagittarius rising sign and Pisces rising sign. But Cancer rising, you might want to be updating your personal headshot. Let's look radiant, let's look approachable, let's look confident, and then let's put it on the website. So it could be a professional photo shooting. Maybe you want to buy a new signature outfit. Choose something a little bit high quality, comfortable, beautifully tailored, that makes you feel powerful, and then let's go for a job interview. Why is that? Because Chiron is sitting in your 10th house. And it feels like Cancer has been kind of like having enough, or they are getting a lot of pressure at work. Or maybe film a very raw kind of like personal video. Speak directly to your audience about your own journey with zero filters. Because Chiron in your 10th house is all about having to be on the public stage. And I shouldn't be afraid of being seen. I shouldn't be afraid of being rejected by others. So let's talk about my personal fears to that public. And trust me on that, this conjunction allows you to connect with people, and you're going to get a tremendous amount of love out of it. Maybe you want to be reinventing your morning routine. I tend to call the first house as the house of morning routine. So you might want to start your day with kind of like a 30 minutes of complete silence or meditation or having a glass of luxury herbal tea, or you want to be doing a bit of a stretching as well. Often we look at the sixth house as the house of routine, but really the first house is something to do with your specific morning routines, because it's about getting out of the bedroom, right? The 12th house. Uh, Maybe you want to post a bold statement about your expertise on a main platform. So this is brilliant for you for advertisement as well. Because the first house represents the physical body, so you can go through some body alignments as well. You can visit a chiropractor, an osteopath, or any type of specialist to kind of clear the physical tension within the body. Because again, remember, Chiron is in the sign of Aries, which represents physical tension. And make sure that you say no to energy drainers. Ruthlessly cut out maybe one obligation that compromises your peace of mind, and then just do something for the sake of me wanting to do that. Let me see if you guys have got any questions so far. Good evening, Western astrology. We are doing Western astrology, not Vedic. Leo rising sign. So this is happening in your 12th house. So maybe you want to be spending a good 48 hours alone, kind of like in a beautiful hotel or an Airbnb, to kind of recharge your creative batteries and then finally do something that you want to. My Leo rising friend is going on a bit of a vacation, a bit of an anniversary of some sort without the kids. And that's exactly what a Leo rising sign should be doing with a Venus and Jupiter conjunction in the 12th house, because it should be bringing further opportunities later on. Maybe you want to start a dream journal, maybe place a notepad by your bed, because some artistic kind of insights might come through your subconscious. And then you're going to have to be able to take notes of those, because remember, we tend to forget these things. You can definitely do a bit of a digital detox. So turn off the phone for a full Saturday, just to kind of protect your mind, your peace. The 12th house is also connected to your mind, but it's the intuitive part of your mind. Or maybe you want to be working completely behind the scenes, spending the week writing or planning a major launch without posting about it, kind of like doing the preparation. Remember, Chiron is in your 9th house, and that's the house of publishing and launching. So you might be scared of publishing a good idea of yours, but it's doing some kind of like modifications on that. That's what the 12th house represents, because the 6th house is perfectionism, and the 12th house is learning to go with the flow. So we have to walk away from the idea of having to have the perfect product, because there is no such thing. So just doing the last kind of like touch-ups and then eventually launching that. Maybe you want to be investing into a therapy or a healing session with someone, spending money on deep subconscious work, breath work, these sound bath, or ancestral clearing. That could be also a huge one for you, because the 12th house is those demons from the past that hold us down. Or you can create an altar or a sacred space. Maybe dedicate a small corner of your home just for meditation or candles or beautiful crystals, and kind of just let the energy soak up around you. Or you can really kind of like listen to certain type of like these hypnotherapy music, kind of like programming the brain. This is like sound therapy to tap into that Sappho's deep creative flow. You can really work on some creative projects here. Virgo rising sign. So this is happening in your 11th house. So you can hold a community event. You can gather your clients, your peers, your co-workers, Maybe it's a nurturing group call. This is a day when we should be giving them positive feedback rather than kind of like telling them off what they don't do well. Maybe you can propose a lucrative collaboration to others. So you can reach out to an industry peer for an affiliation deal or a co-hosted workshop and so forth. Me personally, I am also offering affiliations as well. Yeah, just a side note. Or you can purge social media feeds and then you unfollow everyone whose content makes you feel anxious or inadequate. Or you can actually post your first social media video as well, because it's about sharing a major vision statement with others, telling your audience exactly what kind of future or community you are actively building. Or you can attend kind of like a networking dinner, or you can meet your friends up as well. But going somewhere exclusive where you can talk shop with people, who might match your ambition. The 11th house is being surrounded by like-minded people who have got the same goals, not just hanging out with anyone. Or you can actually create a referral or an affiliate program as well. Or you might want to be celebrating the win with your team. So treating your assistant, for example, or your closest business allies to a beautiful lunch. And I know that you are spending money, but in the long run, this might be bringing you further opportunities. Libra rising sign. So this is happening in your 10th house. Big one, because this is about pitching a high level project. This is about being lucky and finding a dream job or a well paid job or a much better paid job. But it's about presenting your most beautiful, comprehensive business idea, for example, to someone who can fund and kind of green light it. It's about showing up at the job interview in the bestest possible version of yourself. It's about accepting a major public role, saying yes to a gig, an interview, a teaching opportunity that puts you somehow in the spotlight. The 10th house is your branding. So it's about refreshing your brand aesthetic. So you can change your logo, your website colors. You can change the fonts to look more premium, more kind of like established. Or you can actually post a client success story, sharing a heartfelt, emotional testimonial that shows the real world of how good you are. This is about dressing for the role you want. So it's about kind of like wearing the finest clothes to that business meeting. Even if you are on Zoom, make sure that you don't just put makeup on and a nice blouse, but you kind of stand out somehow. Or decide on your official off-duty hours as well and stick to them strictly, because it's about setting an unshakable career boundary. Why is that? Because Chiron is in the sign of Aries. And one of the problem could be is that Chiron in Aries often is about the victimhood. So we are the victim of our clients, and then they can call us at any time when they want to. Okay, or you can even mentor someone with potential. Just spending an hour, passing on your hard-won wisdom to kind of like a rising talent in your field. So if you're looking for a job, make sure that you apply for jobs and stuff like that, because this could really help you with that. Okay, let's see in the meantime. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Good to see people being online. I'm a Cancer Sun and a Leo Ascendant. I have been a hermit with Jupiter in my 12th house. Yes, that's highly possible, but Leo rising sign doesn't like doing that. I haven't felt a blessing from Jupiter so far. I haven't even got fat. It's a good statement because in order for you to find blessings of Jupiter, you have to reach out for it. That's often something that people misunderstand with Jupiter. They think that it's just gonna land on our lap, and that's not true. Jupiter is a fiery planet. So what it tells you is that you have to reach out. You have to continuously get out there. So even Jupiter in the 12th house, how can we manifest from that for a Leo rising sign? You might be taking a spiritual course. That would be super important, right? Why is that? Because you might be able to um, find out something about yourself that's going to rewrite the scripts. Remember, Chiron is in your ninth house, and the ninth house represents scripts. So that's the whole idea here. By you being able to uh, name your inner demons, once you know their name, that they cannot hurt you anymore. It's like you're telling your inner demons, "Hey, girl, I know you are here, but I'm not getting bothered by that anymore." But many of us don't do that, right? So it becomes a lingering fear, and then we are biting our nails, and then we are unable to move forward. So those people who are not tapping into their subconscious as a Leo rising sign don't expect much from Jupiter moving into your first house, which I'm also going to be making a video about, of course, this month, because it's coming up very shortly. But let's move on to Scorpio rising sign. So, Scorpio, this is taking place in your ninth house. So, you might want to publish a writing of yours, a deep piece of research, for example. So, you want to write an article, a guide, or a video detailing your findings. Or you might want to book a trip to a cultural and kind of like soulful destination, something that is known for natural beauty or historical depth, because you might be meeting someone significant there. I remember with a friend of mine with Jupiter and Venus conjunction in the sign of a Libra. She booked a ticket. She spent 2 weeks at this paradise. She met her husband. They moved together. They got married. And we are talking about 15 years ago. And they met on a trip. That happened during a Jupiter Venus conjunction in the sign of Libra. Obviously, Libra is ruled by Venus. By the way, it happened in her ninth house. So we are talking about a Aquarius rising person. So it does work, trust me on that. So also it's about launching, for example, a advanced master class. It's teaching a high level philosophical or even deeply technical topic to your best students. Or maybe you want to be buying a rare, beautiful book, or you want to be connecting with an international person. So reaching out across borders for kind of like cross promotional interview or a collaboration, or you might, even if you're looking for a job, you might want to be finding one in a foreign country. If you're a writer, it's about mapping out your next big book, kind of putting together the curriculum. But also, it could be about signing up on a course again, and potentially that might become something that you fall in love with. And also, you can share your personal ethics publicly. Sagittarius rising sign, of course, you are ruled by Jupiter, so this is a lucky one for you. And it is happening in your eighth house. So that's a financial house. So it's kind of like, but the eighth house is a little bit more to do with passive incomes rather than the income that comes from your job and so forth. So this is an irregular income, okay? So therefore, that's why it's the house of investments, and it might be a lucrative job that you only can do for a month or two, and then it's kind of like finished. But somehow it saves you. You can also go on a date with this as well, spending an evening with your partner, discussing the financial goals or deep emotional fears and how we can work on our intimacy and the bonds as well. Maybe you can launch a psychological type of program, creating a course that tackles these transformative topics, traumatic topics, and so forth. Or maybe it's going to give you the opportunity to lower your debts. Maybe you are going to be finding a debt company, offering you better options. Maybe it's about closing out a financial obligation just to free up your energetic cash flow. Maybe you are actually applying for a grant or an investment, like seeking those external funding for a creative project of yours. And this should be granting you to find one. Or maybe you want to be applying for a loan or a mortgage because you want to buy a property, and then this might be helping you to get it. And you might even get a better option than you expected. Also, this is a brilliant time for you to solidify legal kind of like stuff as well, especially if you are purchasing properties, investment related things, inheritance related things. So then read up on the estate planning or contract, because you might be finding a lucky detail there. But also, this is very psychological house. So you can really do this deep somatic trauma release kind of like program. You might just want to spend time in a sauna, steam room, hot bath. Why? Because we are sweating out those old survival stress. Capricorn rising, this is happening in your 7th house. So this is brilliant for contractual agreements. You can look into some lucrative partnership, client agreement, something that might be providing you safety and stability. But you can also go on a very classic romantic date. So take your partner out to a restaurant with incredible food, a cozy atmosphere, light music, and so forth. But you can also propose a one-on-one VIP program to someone. Imagine that, I don't know, you are in contact with Angelina Jolie, and then you tell them, "Oh, can I be your personal, astrologer, for example?" And then shockingly, you might get a yes. It's about launching something exclusive, a high ticket type of program, and just for a few clients. The 7th house can work for that. Or you can really clear the air with an ally as well. You sit down and then you're having this warm, constructive conversation just to kind of iron out any lingering professional friction between two people. Or you can hire a specialist. Maybe you want to hire a, I don't know, designer, an editor, an expert in their field, and then you get some really valuable ideas that you are going to be able to make profit out of. Or the 7th house is very public. So maybe you publicly want to thank a collaborator, a mentor, or I don't know, your YouTube members or your partner or your family, something like that. Or you can even give something beautiful to a partner, but it should be a little bit more high quality, but practical gift that supports their daily life. And you never know what you're going to get in return. Aquarius rising sign, this is happening in your 6th house. So this might be helping you to find a new job if you are looking for one. But also, if you have got work, buy a beautiful kind of like supporting desk chair or a desk organizer type of things. It's about streamlining your daily workflow. Delete or automate kind of like 3 administrative tasks that drains you. Or it's about making a lifestyle change, because treating a physical health issue or treating the body, like I said at the beginning of the video, is mandatory with that Chiron square in the sign of Aries. So you might want to try like high-end acupuncture, physical therapy, body work sessions, and so on. This is about maybe revamping your daily meal prep as well. And then you want to invest a little bit more into high quality ingredients, because that nourishes your body and then it looks beautiful on the plate. It's actually beautiful if you decide to want to lose weight and so on. Of course, we can put on weight with Venus and Jupiter as well, but we are not talking about the negatives today. Only positive things that I want to mention to you. Maybe you want to be having an honest talk with your coworkers, assistants, even with your boss as well, and setting very clear, nurturing, yet firm boundaries regarding what has to be delivered on a daily basis. Or you are able to create a beautiful daily ritual as well. It might be just a 10-minute, I don't know, candlelit stretch or breath work routine, but you are benefiting on a physical level. The sixth house is something to do with bad habits. So this might be about giving up on a bad habit as well. And last but not least, Pisces rising sign. It is happening in your fifth house. So you can really spend a couple of days painting, writing, creating something. Um, this is about the creative joy. So we are not only doing it with the intention of selling something, but with the intention of finding inner peace as well. You can also definitely go on a date. Pisces, you are ruled by Jupiter, so this is another very lucky position. Doing something light-hearted, joyful. We can go to an art gallery. We can have some gelato after, and so on. Or you can really film a highly charismatic video and let your natural charm or kind of like artistic flair to take the center stage in your content. Or play with speculative kind of like creative ideas. And then you can brainstorm your absolute wildest, kind of most visually stunning concepts without filtering them. Because the fifth house is something to do with staging. So you're meant to be putting something on a stage. Maybe you want to be spending some great time together with your friends, having a couple of glasses of wine, a relaxed day by a pool, a lake, a beach, but be surrounded by your favorite people who gives you the confidence, who appreciates you, who treats you kind of like a star. Not because we want to be in the center of attention, but we want to feel that we are specially treated. Maybe you want to be investing into a high quality hobby gear, some premium tools, a camera, a software, just to be able to enjoy your craft even more. And most importantly, I think it's super important that you celebrate your inner child. Do something purely for the dopamine and the fun of it, and completely getting detached, at least for a couple of days, from any type of productivity and mundane type of worries and stress. Of course, from a romantic, like I said at the beginning of the video as well, if you want to get pregnant, this could be actually a super good period of time for you. Now, because this is also a abundant type of energy, so I want to close it on what we can kind of like, where the growth can come from. And real estate and any type of tangible assets, like a residential property. Cancer is really about family homes, commercial real estate, uh, real investment, real estate investment trusts, and so forth. Real estates are always going to satisfy the core human need. It gives us shelter. But also, maybe you want to be looking at, instead of trying to kind of like pick individual winning stocks, which carries high risk, looking at these broad market index funds, which allows you to own that tiny slice of hundreds of the world's top companies simultaneously. Is it called ETFs? I think it's called. We might want to be looking into that, because I can imagine that working. I would say that we do have to be making sure that we are saving money as well. It's kind of like the sleep well at night type of money. Think of it that way. So we keep our capital safe, and maybe it's something trusted which earns a guaranteed return that combats inflation and ensures you never have to sell your long-term growth investments during a market downturn, or just to cover the short-term emergencies. But I think the most important part of it is that that you invest into yourself, invest into your own earning capacity, your skills, your intellectual properties. It's about upgrading your professional equipment, like streamlining and so forth, because that's what you're going to get the 100 and 200% ROI, the return, right? So that, and you always have got control over this. You don't always have the control over what is happening in the world, the wars, and so on. So that's Jupiter and Venus. So I would like to ask if anyone has got any questions, any astrology related questions that you guys would like me to answer, because we are going to be doing these live videos a little bit more often. So if you have got any burning questions, then I am very ready to answer those. Yes, with Jupiter being in the 12th house right now, it's actually easy to be a hermit. But that's not necessarily a good one to do. What's so much better, because Leo needs spotlight. So when Leo doesn't receive recognition, applause, and so forth, it's gonna go depressed. So my recommendation would be, with Jupiter in the 12th house, is that you have to make sure that you find downtime for yourself, maybe 4 hours a day, but you still socialize as much as possible. Because Leo doesn't live without appreciation. Hi, Ellie. Yes, so look at the Jupiter-Venus conjunction happening on 25 degree, but also look at if you have got any planets on 13 degree of the water signs. The reason why I want you to do that, because like I said previously, we had 2025 August conjunction happening on 13 degree of Cancer. And that was the seeding moment. And I have explained that in the earlier parts of the video. So therefore, here, if you have got any planets on 13 degree of the water signs, then you might have started something there, and then this would be the moment of harvests. So the very last conjunction was trining my natal Mars and natal Venus, both in the sign of Pisces. So I might have started something there, which should be culminating now. And that might be something to do with my membership program. For example, there's the time when I started putting it together, and some other stuff as well. This conjunct my Mars, 24 degree Pisces, rising here. I just joined. Will this be posted? Yes, we are going to be posting that. Hi, Isaac. Why is the moon void, of course, taking longer than usual? I mean, sometimes it takes longer. It depends on the speed of the moon as well. So the moon speed varies between 11 to 15 degree a day, a little bit more than 15 degree a day. And currently the moon is pretty slow. I do want to ask, this conjunct my where is it? Natal Mars 24 degree, and my south node 26 degree of Cancer Pisces rising here. So, well, firstly, South Node and Mars conjunction. So the South Node is always, the Mars gives you anger and a lot of frustration. Obviously, I would need to know what house it falls into and so forth. So I'm unable to kind of like say much about it. But South Node is something that we have to be letting go, or have to be, it's a comfort zone of ours. So it might be very comfortable to fight. It's very comfortable to fight with family members, for example, and so forth. It might be very comfortable just to kind of give up and walk away from things. Or it's very easy to create a defense mechanism, and the defense mechanism could be a hard exterior or just fighting back and so forth. And then Jupiter and Venus conjunction comes around, and it might help you to understand where it comes from, where it originates from. So that's one idea without knowing what house position it falls into and so forth. Unnoticed accidental pregnancies in the 12th house, absolutely, this could show. And the 12th house plays actually a lot of role in pregnancies as well. If you think of that, you give birth 9 months after getting pregnant. If you count the 5th house to the 12th house, that's going to be 9 houses altogether. So I tend to look at the 12th house as the last month of your pregnancy. But the conception of a baby is so much to do with the 12th house as well. But I don't want to go into details much with that right now. My thoughts on Jupiter in the 8th house natal. I mean, it depends on what sign it is in. So it's difficult to, again, and the other thing that is very important is with these very generic questions that we have to be looking at altogether the entire Jupiter complex. So what type of aspects does it have? What does it rule in the natal chart? But very generally speaking, Jupiter in the 8th house, Jupiter is the divine protector. So this could indicate financial fortunes through others, like getting married to a rich person, or having a highly kind of like contractual agreement with someone. Because the 8th house is something to do with partners, assets, inheritance. So we can inherit money. We can gain through investments as well, or we can get tax relief. We can open a company in a country where taxes are low, better. Or maybe it's about gaining financial backing, favorable loans, unexpected windfalls through partnership, marriage, family inheritances, and so forth. Negatively speaking, this could indicate financial leak also. Also, it's psychological resilience as well. It's the ability where you are able to transform your trauma into a strength. It's about at one moment in your life when you're not afraid of your own shadow anymore. But at the beginning of their lives, usually these people are hiding from uncomfortable truth and taboo subjects. But as soon as they get kind of like more mature, they dive into those type of stuff. These people are natural healers, counselors, but these people are often going through a continuous rebirth. So maybe they don't last in one job for more than a year or two. But it really depends on the sign as well. Or this is about blessings when it comes to deep bonds and intimacy. Now, I'm really picking the positive meanings of it, and Jupiter has got very negative meanings as well, which I have made video about, so you might want to listen to that. But it's about having meaningful connections. That's the teaching of Jupiter here. So anytime you are in a superficial relationship with someone, you're just going to have to look beyond. You're going to have to walk off, basically. But also you might notice that people are very generous with you, or you are going to be very generous with others, because the 8th house is something to do with sharing. The downfalls is overextension, and then overestimating shared financial resources and stuff like that, or blind optimism in contracts, or psychological overindulgence. This could indicate the ability to make money out of financial industries or spiritual industries as well. But the sign on the eighth house dictates how Jupiter expresses its energy. So if it's in an earth sign like Taurus or Virgo, it's going to ground this energy into highly practical, let's say, financial management or physical healing. In an air sign, such as Libra or Gemini, it manifests as a deep intellectual fascination with psychology and occult studies and so forth. And also, you have to be looking at the aspects as well. So I cannot give you a full interpretation on that. Great. Jupiter return, I've got a full webinar on Jupiter return, and I really explain how we can use the webinars in the bestest possible way. Great. So, guys, thank you very much for being here. I will probably see you guys next weekend, where I will want to talk to you about Chiron entering the sign of Taurus. That's a major shift, so we have to kind of talk about that. So let's see each other again next weekend. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Bye bye.